Alright guys, Chris Peterson here bringing you another game. I'm going to be playing another 15-minute game. This time my opponent's going to be yellowpebble, who's 1621. And after that last game, my rating is 1733. So, this is going to be another 15-minute game on the 15-minute pool, which is part of ICC's whole package that they do. So it's like an individual rating for game 15. And I'm going to be playing the Grunfeld defense. Something that I've kind of been experimenting with for the last year or so. I've had some decent success with it, been able to beat players like Brian Wall and other local strong players with it in speed chess, not necessarily in slow games. I guess this is like, whoa. So this is like the classic variation, I guess. I don't really know. I've never looked at an opening book for it. But basically my whole point is just to pressure d4 as much as possible. Play moves like queen a5, knight c6, castles, and just put as much pressure on it as possible. I think, if I'm not mistaken, there was a World Championship match played pretty much exclusively from the black side by Garry Kasparov with this particular opening. So it has some credit to it, some very good points to it. And if a good player like Kasparov plays it, it can't be all bad, right? This variation in particular is kind of bizarre. I don't know exactly what he's doing. He's kind of bottling up all of his pieces. And now he's just going to let me build up as much pressure as I want on this d4 square. You can't really push or take because of bishop takes c3, so I'm just going to be piling up the pressure. If he ever can't really push, I'll just take his pawn, and he won't be able to get rid of my dark squared bishop now that I move my rook to d8, because now I have the retreat square of h8. So he's playing pretty quick, and he doesn't seem to know exactly what he's doing, so hopefully that'll give me an edge. There's a guy named yellowpebble, can't really expect too much. So I wonder if I could take this now. Takes, queen takes, rook takes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. I think I can just take this thing. I just win a free pawn there, it looks like to me, so I'm not sure. I think maybe knight takes. It might go into opposite colored bishops would not be the best thing for me. If I play bishop takes, knight takes, then he can play rook f to d1. But I have knight takes, bishop check, so that would trade just about everything off the board. I don't really want that. I don't want it to be a rook ending, because those are usually pretty difficult to win. So, probably go for e5, and I'll just leave my knight on d4. So, I'll just take this bad boy. If he doubles up, I'll just play e5, and then he has nothing. And I never have to worry about my b pawn hanging, I don't think. So, as far as I can tell, this is all perfect for me. This is exactly what I want out of the Grunfeld. It's just solid advantage on the queen side, and that's it. Should just be smooth sailing from here with some difficulties, I'm sure, but for the most part, I should be able to clean this up. I guess it just comes down to how good my technique is, which is definitely a far cry from perfect. So we'll just wait and see. This could be a very short game 15. I'm not exactly sure why he went into this whole thing. My guess is that he doesn't really know the opening too well. If we go back, so far so good. Here bishop c4 I've seen a lot, followed by knight e2 and then bishop e3. but I don't think mixing up the move order here is so bad. Now I played queen here to prevent him from pushing or taking, because then I'll win his queen. And I would have expected something like rook c1 maybe, so that way he can threaten to take it. But I don't really think that would be a problem for me. I would just castle, and if he takes the pawn, rook d8, and I think I have a good game there. So he plays rook there. It's kind of a bizarre move. I think he can't take, so I don't think he doesn't really have a tactic there. So castles, knight f3. I could also just play bishop g4 right away, but there's no reason to do that. So my guess is he wants to come into b5 and try to win a pawn that way. Because if I let him come into b5, he's going to take my knight, and then my e5 pawn will drop. So I'm just going to play a6 to prevent that. And I would expect something like rook b1 maybe, and then I can play b5. Then if he plays a4, I'll just play b4 maybe. Seems okay. Everything seems to be getting a little bit overextended for me, but I think since his rooks will be off the d file, I'll be safe as far as my knight's concerned. So, kind of feel like going back to the opening a little bit. He might jump it forward again. I think that's pretty much it. I think he just couldn't control d4 long enough. Sometimes I've seen people play e5, but of course, in this case it would be a mistake because it's just take and then knight takes and it's pinned. So I think he just wasted too much time trying to get his rook in the center for some reason. So I don't know. So my plan for winning is probably just to throw my b pawn forward. That's my advantage, so I might as well do something with it. If I can turn it into a pass pawn, then that would be good. Well, according to Nh5, it's a 90% pass pawn already, so I just need to get it to 100% and 100% win. So we'll see. So he took my bishop. It was pinned, so it wasn't really going anywhere anyway, so I'm not sure why he would opt for that particular trade, but whatever. Now I have a threat. I mean, my threat's knight takes bishop check, and he can't play rook takes because I'll just take his rook on d1. So probably expect a move like, I don't know, bishop c4. Yeah, there we go. Okay. That gives me a free tempo to push my pawn. And if he goes bishop d5, I'll just put my rook behind my 90% pass pawn, and I should be winning this fairly easily. I could have also gone rook c8, rook a to c8, but then bishop b7 would be a little difficult to reach, or to meet rather. So now he's attacking my e pawn, and I don't really want to give that up. So, well, I can't really do too much about it actually, because my knight will be hanging. So that was a pretty good move by him. Let's see. Like I said, there's going to be hiccups in this, so I have to be a little more careful, I guess. Probably maybe king g7, pawn takes, and then knight e6. I don't really have too many squares for my knight at the moment. So king g7, pawn takes pawn, knight e6, bishop takes e6, rook takes d2, rook takes d2. I have to go king g7 because that way it prevents his bishop from checking me. And then I can play pawn takes, and he's got these doubled pawns here. But it would be difficult for me to hold on to any kind of advantage for sure because he has rook d6. So maybe I gotta find a different idea here. One thing I could try is just rook sack is rook takes d5, followed by knight f5, but doesn't look very promising there either. So I've kind of put myself in a bad situation here. I think Okay, I could also play, no, that's not going to work, because then he can take f7 with checks, so, let's see. See, the problem that I'm having is, at the end of that variation, my pawn on e6 is hanging, so when he plays rook d6, I'm losing a pawn, either e6 or a6, and I'd have to choose, and I probably want to hold on to my a6 pawn, so that way I can turn my b pawn into a pass pawn. It's just that kind of puts my rook in a passive position, so I'm trying to find a way to make the rook not passive, but I don't really see a way. I was thinking rook to b6, but then my king will get checked on f7, so I'd lose an extra pawn there. Well, then his pawns would still be doubled, so it wouldn't be too bad. And then he has rook d7 check, which will basically win my h pawn, but I'll probably win at least one of his e pawns in that case. So that's one possibility. So I think rook b6 is probably the best option for me, because I don't really want his rook coming into the 6th rank, because that's where all my pawns are going to be at the end of the variation. So I'm just going to play rook b6. Oh, I can also play knight c6. Yeah, that's an option after knight b6, so that's good. Yeah, it looks like I won't be losing pawns in that case. Well, that's not entirely true. I lose a whole rook in that case. Because he's going to play bishop takes f7 check, king takes f7, rook takes d8, knight takes d8, rook takes d8, so I have to go knight e6. And after bishop takes, I have to play rook takes. And then bishop takes f7 check, king f7, rook takes. Yeah. Maybe I was behind the whole tempo in all those variations I was considering. But I don't think so. Well, I think I miscalculated by putting in wrong tempos, but I was thinking king g7, knight, pawn takes e5, knight e6, bishop takes e6, rook takes d2, rook takes d2, pawn takes e6. No, I was off. Okay. But in this case, I should be, because he's giving me the extra tempo, it'll be my move at the end. Oh, never mind. He doesn't want to win the extra pawn. He's just gonna let me do it this way, which is perfectly fine with me. I don't care. I'm not sure what he's gonna try to accomplish here. Well, I think maybe rook b6 was better, because then I can bring my king around. But you know, whatever. Maybe I'll switch it up. That sounds good. And now rook b6. Sometimes when you're playing, you see a better plan, and it's so much better that you just want to backtrack and take that plan anyway. So that's kind of what I did. So waste of a tempo, but could have been worse. I wonder if g5 is okay here, because it'll keep his king from coming into my position, which is good. If he plays h4, I just play h6, and that should keep him out. And then he'll have this problem of the a and b pawns. So all this time I was talking about how easy it was going to be for me to win, and then I just totally blew it by leaving my knight hanging on d4. So pretty bad mistake by me, but I don't know. Maybe when I become a grandmaster one day, I'll have better endgame technique. So whatever. So I'm not sure what he's planning here. Just play rook b6. Then I'll play king e6. I am up. Well, I'm not up a pawn, but I should have an advantage here because I have the passed b pawn that's going to be coming eventually. So now I can play. My next move is probably going to be king e6. One potential move for him would be pawn to e6, but I think I think I just play king takes and, well, rook takes is probably fine too. Pawn to e6 I think would be a good move for him. But he doesn't want to do that, he wants to play king there. Okay. Oh, I see, he's gonna play king. He's gonna play king c5, and I'll have to back my rook up. So let me just play rook c6, and then I can play rook c4 check, and then maybe rook a4 and just attack his a pawn. And that should put him in a bit of a panic, I hope. Oh, he wants to trade. Okay. The king and pawn ending should be winning for me, as long as he is not allowed to penetrate. Because I have a pass pawn here, he's going to lose his pawns over here. So, should be winning for me, but whether it is or not, it's going to be a little tricky. Does he have any tempo wasting moves? Pawn here, and then pawn here, and then he has to go king here. And I don't have to king here. It doesn't look that good. I don't want to trade. Trading doesn't look like it's going to get me anywhere. I'm going to play rook b6. If I would have taken there, I have no way to get my king past his king, so I would probably end up losing that position. Maybe not losing, probably still a draw. I could probably just go back and forth with my king, but yeah, I didn't want to go into that variation because that would probably be not pleasant for me as far as trying to win. So after rook b6, I'm still kind of threatening to play a5, a4, then pawn b4, and just trying to push my b pawn, I guess you can look at it that way. His move, he's got to make a move, so we'll see what he does first. He might be thinking about pushing his e pawn, but I don't see how that's going to help him. So I can just play pawn takes check, and then play h6 and defend my other pawn. So, well, you can actually penetrate with his king that way, but if I have to, I can just play rook takes e6 and not have to worry about all that. So, the endgame is probably drawn at this point because it's going to be so difficult to win this rook ending. So time's definitely probably going to become a factor, especially for him. And if I can get my b pawn rolling ever, then I might be able to convert this. But at this point, it doesn't look very promising, to be honest. So, not sure what he's doing. I think I'm just going to throw my a pawn forward, see what happens. You could play rook a3, but I don't think that's a very good move necessarily. If he plays king c5 here, that's probably losing. I just checked. King here takes, and then king here, and he's gonna run out of moves, I think. So I'm just gonna take all of his kingside pawns. So now he's giving me a pass pawn, so that should be helpful. Probably rook b3. I'll probably just play h6, and if he plays king here, I'll just play king e6. And he's going to be losing some pawns over here. Oh, he could play king c5, yeah. If he takes king here, and should be able to win that pawn somehow. I could probably triangulate my king somehow to win his pawns. Well, my king, I guess I don't have to triangulate. I'm just going to go king g3, take his h pawn, then take his g pawn, and just win. So, I guess he's going to try to make it a little tricky, but I don't think he has time for all that. Because if he takes my f pawn, his e pawn is going to drop. So, And if he plays e5 first, then I can just play king f4 and take his e pawn. It's not even going to come down to a pawn race. So if he plays e6, I just queen, no problemo, or no problema, I guess. But yeah, so he resigned. So pawn push, take, and then queen. So that's the game. I don't think I should have won that. It's probably a draw. He probably shouldn't have let me get that pass pawn, but I don't know if he could have prevented it. But I think that rook ending is still drawn. But I made it much harder on myself than I should have, so that's my own fault. Anyway, I'll catch you guys next game.